Hello and welcome to the Smile and Save podcast, brought to you by Serve and Protect Credit Union. My name is Tom and I will be your host for today's episode. Now, chances are you've probably never heard of credit unions before. If that is the case, you are missing out on one of the best kept secrets in the world of finance. With over 375 million credit union members around the world, credit unions provide vital support to those who may struggle to access it elsewhere. By the end of this episode, you will know exactly what a credit union is, why they stand out from other financial institutions, and why joining a credit union could be the best decision you ever make. Let's get started. To begin, let's start with a simple definition. A credit union is a not-for-profit financial cooperative which provides financial services to its members. Now, that definition comes in 4 different parts, so let's break it down a little bit further. Firstly, the not-for-profit aspect. Not-for-profit simply means that credit unions do not exist to make a profit or personal gain for the organisation itself or for those operating it. They only exist to support their members in the best way possible. Credit unions may make a profit each year, which ensures they are sustainable and can continue to serve their members, but as a not-for-profit, they will use it in a very different way. Some of their profit will be used to provide a savings return back to their members in the form of an annual dividend. This is agreed at the credit union's annual general meeting, or AGM. The credit union will also look to support charities and good causes close to their members' hearts, as well as using some of their profit to improve the services and technology which they offer. Secondly, what actually is a financial cooperative? This basically describes the way that credit unions are structured, where it is owned by and operated for its members. Credit unions are controlled in a democratic way, with each member being able to attend its AGM. Every member has one vote for any motions which arise and can have their say in how the credit union should operate. Each credit union has its own board of directors, which is made up of elected members who are voted in at the AGM. The board is responsible for ensuring the credit union operates in the best interests of the members. The third part of that definition is that credit unions provide financial services. Credit unions typically provide savings products and personal loans to help their members manage their day-to-day finances and access support should they need it. Credit unions with a common bond focused around employment, known as employer credit unions, may also partner with employers to provide something called salary deduction, which we'll get into shortly. And finally, we've spoken a lot about the word members instead of customers. That is because when you join a credit union, you are considered a member, and your savings are actually treated as shares. There are no external shareholders, so technically you're a member owner. To join the credit union in the first place, you must fit into its field of membership or common bond. This ensures credit unions maintain their focus on serving a specific community and that all members have something specific in common. Common bonds are usually based on living or working in a set geographical area or working for a specific employer or industry. Credit unions focused on geographic areas are known as community credit unions. So, to recap, credit unions are not-for-profit financial cooperatives which provide financial services to their members. Let's take a quick look at how credit unions began. So credit unions actually began in the 19th century in Europe. The first credit unions were founded in the 1850s in Germany, and their goal was to provide financial services to those who lacked access to these services at the time and were financially excluded for various reasons. The way they operated was simple and very similar to how credit unions still operate today. People would join the credit union and pool their savings together, providing funds for other members to borrow from should they need to. In the early 20th century, credit unions began popping up in North America, most notably in the United States, Canada, and then Jamaica during the 1940s. Credit unions in Europe then started to grow, particularly in Ireland during the late 1950s, and nowadays around 70% of the Irish population are actually members of a credit union. It took a while for credit unions to take off in the UK, with the first British credit union starting in 1964. And today there are over 86,000 credit unions operating in 118 countries worldwide, with a combined total of over 375 million members. However, only around 2% of the UK population are actually members of a credit union. So there is still a lot of work to do in sharing the impact that credit unions can have in our communities here in the UK. Now you know a little bit about how credit unions got started, let's take a look at credit unions today, the services they offer, and the positive impact they can make in people's lives. Credit unions play a very important role in today's society. Their sole purpose is to help their members to manage their money and prepare for their financial future. Because of this, they are able to support those who may struggle to access it elsewhere. Let's explore that a little bit further. So let's say you experience some form of financial setback, perhaps an unexpected expense, some form of health or relationship issue, or you lose your job. Whatever the situation is, you may need some form of financial support to pay whatever expense you've come across, or to get yourself back on your feet. Ideally, you have savings that you could fall back on and get yourself back on track. However, for many people, saving money isn't always that easy. With the financial demands of day-to-day life, it can be difficult to put money aside for a rainy day. Well, firstly, credit unions provide a convenient and easy way to save money regularly. Many credit unions partner with employers to offer something called salary deduction. This is where you agree to have a small amount of money taken from your salary before you get paid, which goes into a savings account. With salary deduction, the hard work is done for you every month, and when you need some emergency funds, you have a pot of money ready to go. This is particularly useful for those who struggle to save money, perhaps people living on lower incomes, or those with particularly high monthly expenses. Going back to that financial setback that you may experience, if you didn't have the savings to deal with it, you may need to borrow some money. We will probably all need to borrow at various points throughout our lives, but the options we each have to borrow will be very different. This is because we all have different credit histories and different financial stories, meaning some of us will have plenty of options to borrow at low interest rates, and some of us will have very little options at all. Credit unions are there to provide vital financial support to those who may struggle to access affordable credit elsewhere. This is because credit unions will often look beyond the applicant's credit score, instead looking into their credit history and affordability to determine if they're eligible to borrow. This provides those with low credit scores the opportunity to borrow at affordable rates. Therefore, not only do credit unions provide vital financial support to those who need it, they can prevent people from turning to high interest and predatory credit, such as payday lenders and loan sharks. So, credit unions can help people to save money, borrow money when they struggle to borrow elsewhere, and prepare for their financial future. Before we wrap up today's episode, let's take a look at how joining a credit union can help you to support your community. So going back to when credit unions first began, they were founded on something called cooperative values and the principle of people helping people. The cooperative values promote the importance of voluntary, democratic, and community focus. It's all about ensuring that credit unions act responsibly and in the best interests of their members. The principle of people helping people describes how members interacting with the credit union not only supports themselves, but also helps their fellow members. For example, by saving with a credit union, you are pooling your savings with your fellow members. If someone then needs to access financial support, they can borrow from the credit union, and the interest they pay on that loan helps to provide a savings return to reward the members for saving. It's all about people helping people. And because you must fit into the credit union's common bond in order to join in the first place, by saving and borrowing with a credit union, you are directly supporting your community or your colleagues, depending on the common bond. The Smile and Save podcast is brought to you by Serve and Protect Credit Union. Serve and Protect is one of Britain's largest credit unions, serving over 44,000 members. Our common bond is anyone working in the police, prison and probation, armed forces, fire and rescue, and NHS and private healthcare services in the UK. If you work in any of these services, you can join Serve and Protect and save and borrow direct from your salary, while directly supporting your colleagues at the same time. If you work somewhere else, you can find a credit union that you're eligible to join by visiting the Find Your Credit Union website at findyourcreditunion.co.uk. So, to summarise today's episode, credit unions are not-for-profit financial cooperatives which provide financial services to their members. They are owned by and operated in the best interests of their members, who are all part of a defined common bond. By saving with a credit union, you are helping your community to borrow in an ethical way and at affordable rates. Some credit unions allow you to conveniently save and securely borrow with deductions direct from your salary in a process called salary deduction. If you're someone who struggles to save money each month, cannot access affordable credit from high street lenders like banks, or you just want to do more with your savings and support your community or your colleagues, go ahead and join your local credit union. And if you work in the police, prison, military, fire or health services in the UK, visit the Serve and Protect Credit Union website at www.serveandprotectcu.co.uk and get started on your journey to financial resilience. Thank you so much for listening to the first episode of the Smile and Save podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful, and hopefully you now know a little bit more about credit unions. If you could do us a massive favour and follow or subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, we would really appreciate it. And we can't wait to welcome you back for the next episode. Have a great day.